So now we're going to walk through the POC, which stands for point of connection, and the winterization components. It's also where you can do a manual shut off of the system in case of any breaks or issues. The first thing we have right here is a curb stop / stopping waste, which can be manually shut off with I believe it's a 6-foot key. That's just usually a 90-degree turn to the right. We'll shut it off. 90-degree turn to the left. Counterclockwise will open it up. Next we have our backflow, which already has its protective covering on it and its guard shack. The protective covering is inside. That's just in case of cold weather or freezing. It will protect it for temporary amounts of time. The backflow has 2 shutoff valves on it. There's one upstream and one downstream. Either one of those can also be shut off to shut down the entire system. So that's a possibility. The next thing we have is a drain valve. This is used in winterization. This valve, once the whole system is blown out, you can just open it up to make sure if there's any water in between the backflow and your PRV, that all gets drained out of the system, just in case. The next component we have is your PRV, which is a pressure reducing valve. I believe for this project it's set to 80 psi, but it just ensures that if there's overpressure coming out of the backflow or from the meter, that the whole system just maintains 80 psi no matter what. The next component we have here, which I already talked about in the controller, is the master valve. The master valve controls the whole system as well and is hooked up to the controller. What the master valve does is that if the flow sensor senses there's a break or an issue with anything in the system, the master valve will shut off, and that's when an alert will be sent both to the controller and to the app. And then the next component we have, like I said, is the flow sensor. The flow sensor has certain parameters which it's set to, which if it's usually 5 GPM, which is gallons per minute. If a zone records an overflow of 5 GPM over what it normally does during a normal cycle or run time, the flow sensor will sense that. That's when it sends a signal back to the controller sends it to the master valve shuts down the system, sends off an alarm. The last couple of components that we have here are gate valves and a quick coupler. Gate valves are another way you can manually shut the system off. This area right here actually has a T off of it because this side of the main line goes across and down to service that. There's a leg that goes to the northeast corner of the property. So you can actually isolate different sections of the main line using gate valves. And these ones, once you open up the cover, might be kind of hard to see. They're not very deep at all. This usually uses a 4-foot key, and you just have to turn it clockwise until it stops to shut it off, or counterclockwise all the way until it stops to open it up all the way. The other component we have here is the quick coupler. The owner will be provided with quick coupler keys, which you can use to easily access. These are just used if you need either temporary access to water, and you can use just a normal garden hose with them, which is great for maintenance on a project. Or we'll also use this will probably be where we hook in to do the winterization with our compressor hose. So we'll hook into this section right here because it will allow us to isolate different legs as we're blowing the system out.
So you need one of those deals that will pop in there?
Yep. So, and you guys
I've had it on another property before.
Yeah, you guys will get a
Just
key.
Push in and turn.
It slides in.
Yeah.
You turn it clockwise until water opens up. If you turn it real slowly, you can kind of get different pressure levels. If you just turn it all the way down, that's when you'll get the full pressure of the system. I guess something to note on this system, the master valve will shut down the system when a zone, like if there's no zones operating.
Right.
So in order for you to get water out of this, you'll have to have a zone in operation or go to the controller and manually just turn on the master valve,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Right now, with the schedule that we have the drip zones on, the system is actually running from 6 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. at night. So during the day right now, you'll have water coming out of this. But it's just something to note that if you ever go to a quick coupler and turn the key clockwise and you don't have water coming out of it, it means there's not a zone running and the master valve needs to be manually